This episode is brought to you by Jason Burns of Guild Mortgage, ready for your next move. And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com, building on what matters to you.
I've got Jason Burns here with me today, and he's from Guild Lending. Is that what they say, Guild Lending, or is it Guild Mortgage?
It's Guild Mortgage.
Mortgage, okay. We always talk about lending companies, so I couldn't remember. But anyway, market. Let's talk about the market.
Well, and I can give you a little background. Guild's been here since 1960. One of the big differences is we house a lot of our loans. We service about 95% of those loans. And so that is a big difference to people in the market nowadays. And especially when the market is changing, that can make a big difference is who your lender is, if they're there nights, weekends, and able to answer the phone when the listing agent or attorney or someone else, the borrower, has a question.
Right. And good point, because a lot of times somebody will call who's bought a house and they go, hey, I can't get a hold of the person that I used to talk to at the lending or the mortgage company. I'm like, was it sold? And so, like you said, I know you don't keep all of them, but y'all do keep a good many. And that's a nice thing to be able to, as long as that person's there, they talk to that person for the life of that loan.
Absolutely. So we try to look at it as a relationship and not just like, hey, let me help you with this loan on this piece of property and then go bye-bye. It's, hey, I'm there for the long haul. I'm always going to be there. And, I give people a cell phone number and direct email and would rather them reach out if they have an issue and let's get it resolved and letting it sit there over the weekend and whatnot.
Right, right. So
sorry to get off topic
that happens. Market. So it's like you said, ever changing and
yeah. And I mean, we're blessed here in South Carolina, as people like to say, that, usually with the military and school and recreation, we've got a really good bubble built here, is what we like to say, is that, at any time of the year, we still hold pretty steady. But I will say that, there has been a downtick, and you can attribute that to a number of things, but I always try to flip a negative into a positive. And honestly, to me, this is the time to buy. I mean, I'm an investor and I'm looking at doing some things right now because you just don't have a ton of competition. People say rates are up. Rates are below what the national average is over the last 50 years, or right around there. So to me, it's still an opportune time. If you're a first-time buyer or somebody that's, qualified for an FHA loan, this is the time to buy. Right. You have, houses listed under 250, some under 200,000 that are sitting there for a couple of weeks, even a couple of months. And in that time, because of this market shift, it really is a great time to buy. So, we might be talking about a different market come the first of the year and things picking up. But, what they're talking about long term is, trying to come to where the market is more steady, where we're not wondering, oh my God, is it going to flip flop from one month to the next?
Right. And
have really some longevity in a consistent market that we really haven't had in a long time. I mean, I was talking to somebody about, a kid that's 30 years old today that's, say, looking to buy their first home. Well, since they've been able to borrow money, rates have been in the 3s and in the 4s. That's not a reality of where they really should be if we're going to have a really good, steady economy, strong economy. So.
Yeah, I agree. And, we talk about it's a good time to buy and people go, whatever. But I mean, it really is. I mean, you're not getting anything out of renting. You're getting nothing.
And the other thing is, when the market's hot, what happens? That house for $250,000 then has 5 or 6 offers on it. You're rushing to get one in on a Friday night before the deadline. There's no seller concessions because they don't need to give you any seller concessions because their house is going to sell. So in that time, people say, well, why is that there's more competition? Well, a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm going to wait until the rates get here. If buying a home is a dream of yours, you need to go and just do it. They say, marry the home, date the rate. And I know that's cliche, but it is so true that, even 7% is 7.5%, 8% is not a bad rate. It's just better than that 100% of renting. And that
Yes.
once you get that, mentality that it is better than renting and
That's right.
giving money to somebody else, I think that's where we can start helping people.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. Yep. Good point. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
appreciate you having me. Thanks.
This episode is brought to you by Jason Burns of Guild Mortgage, ready for your next move. And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com, building on what matters to you.